How you guys doing, otakus? How are my otakus doing? Um, so it's been a weird week. First off, I want to give a shout out to my Mariners. It was a very tough loss. I think the Blue Jays won tonight. Pretty sure they took game one. Um, it was a tough loss because we went up 2-0 in the series. This I'm talking about the American League Championship Series. We started the series off with a 2-0. We took two in Toronto, came back home, and at that point it just seemed like, oh wow, we're actually going to do it this season. And I mean, this place was buzzing. In fact, it was pretty much a week ago when I broadcasted. I think we were heading into like the final stretch. We had won game five, and we just had one more win to go last Friday. And then we proceeded to lose all the games in Toronto. And that last game was really tough because we were leading. Uh, we made a critical pitching change. And I'd been saying all season, our bullpen is not good. They didn't do anything at the trade deadline to address the bullpen. Luzardo had been pitching lights out up to that point, so it's not like Wilson made a bad choice. Um, but everybody's being critical. But at the end of the day, I blame the general management because we should have put we should have fortified the bullpen at the trade deadline, and they didn't, and so we lost the series. And everybody's trying to put a positive spin on it here in Seattle, like, oh, we've got a good core team, but we're pretty much going to lose Gilbert to free agency. We're going to lose Eugenio Suarez to free agency. Um, we're going to try to probably sign Josh Naylor because the fans are demanding it. I am not one of those fans. I don't could care less if we sign Naylor or not. In my view, I think we should go after Murakami, who's coming over from Japan. I mean, he's going to be $300 million contract baseline for um, not even a could be a long term deal, but he's going to sign with a team for a uh, good amount of term, and he's going to get paid. So whether it's us, whether it's the Yankees, I think there's just a handful of teams right now um, in the hunt for Murakami services. But this is my message to Seattle management. Like, instead of positively spinning it like, oh, we've got a good core team and all this, um, this is the winter you either put up or shut up. And I'm being serious right now. Either you sign everybody back, or you go out and get Murakami and just, you know, put together the best team you can. And you got to spend money to do that. So, um, the way I look at it is you got to, it's not a matter of spending a lot, because I think you could spend a lot on Naylor, and Naylor can come back absolute garbage next year. He could come out, with an MVP type season. Um, Whether that's smart or not, it really depends on ultimately the player and the performance and the results, right? But you're getting a solid power hitter in Murakami, can hit for average. You have the potential to sign an Otani-like offensive player. Now he's not going to be as explosive as Otani, but someone who can give you that kind of this similar kind of production that Otani put out with the Angels when he initially joined them. 40 home runs a year, high average in the middle of that lineup. So, yeah, ball is in the GM's court, and fans are going to be extra critical of the moves he makes. But it all comes down to will they spend or not? What's up, Beachy Vibes? How you doing, man? Just talking a little baseball. But yeah, so I went out with a work colleague. Um, First off, it was supposed to be sort of like more people. We had planned for it to be a little group outing thing, but then one of the guys ended up like locking himself out of the apartment or something, and so one of the other guys, the roommates, he had to go all the way back to Seattle to help his friend out, his roommate out, and so it was just me and my other colleague watching the game, and so it was kind of subdued. We're just kind of like, all right, we're gonna win. We're having food, drinks. Uh, I was just getting wasted. I was just drinking. What's up, Fuyo Shipong? And again, the game was going our way for the most part, and then that you know, critical situation, and in that situation, Bizardo just, he gave a pitch right down the middle for Springer, and Springer he's not going to miss that. So it was a very devastating loss. Definitely was sad, and I don't know. It just there's no way to like, yeah. Who cares? We lost in the ALCS. Who cares? A lot of fans are like, this is how you can tell sort of the relocation Washingtonians versus the true native Washingtonians. True native Washingtonians are not going to put a positive spin on this. They're just going to be like frustrated. But the relo Washingtonians are sort of the bandwagon fans, I guess you could say. The people that just started watching baseball as the Mariners made the playoffs, and that's kind of me too, because I got, again, I was kind of tuned out to the Mariners until, again, show me something before you bring me back, and again, making the playoffs brought me back. I was in it. I was excited. We won the ALDS. We were in the ALCS with a 2-0 lead, and they break our hearts again. So yeah, it was just kind of a recovery week for me. Definitely put me in not that I was depressed, but I was sad, disappointed, kind of questioning, like, what's going to happen next season, And again, I'm of the opinion that we want to try to keep as much of the core as we can, that's productive, kind of trim the fat, build up the bullpen. That's the first priority. And get another. I'd say we need another couple of bats. With if Eugenio's going, and if we let Naylor just go to the highest bidder. I think if we are going to spend money, we should just go all in on Murakami, and let the chips fall where they may. But again, this franchise notorious for not spending. Um, we got a couple prospects again. I don't know. They say that every year with the prospects thing, but um, again, just put up or shut up. That's it. Put up or shut up. It's like don't try to put this like silver spin on it. Um, all right, let's try a little Q&A sticker here. Planner? No, let's not do that. That's dumb. I am spontaneous though. All right. Um, we're gonna go over Action Comics today. So as you know, I've been just sharing what we picked up from the summer. We picked up what, almost 140 books, and 120 of those books were DC books, and nearly 100 of those books were Superman books. And so we've been showing off the the haul from this summer, and we're kind of just counting down to um, like the major Superman books. Um, and yeah, last week we got through some really good ones. Uh, we got through sort of volume one of Superman that are ones I picked up, but that aren't like the bigger Superman books. And we're going to kind of do that approach with Action Comics now. So to show off what we picked up from the Action Comics run that aren't part of our like bigger books. And what I mean by bigger books are just like books I think are nice, probably in a little better grade, or at least they're not necessarily keys. They're just my favorite books from the age. A lot of ones by like Neil Adams and specific artists we like. Uh, you know, so but again, some of the books that we're reserving for next week probably are mostly Silver Age books and bigger keys. So these are sort of like, they're not major keys, but they are really cool books. And these were sort of a target going into the summer. And we really just uh, kind of just kind of reap the benefits of having a loose kind of target for the summer. So we're gonna get into it, starting with the issue that started it all. Yeah, we picked up an Action One. Look at this. This is DC Comics Millennium Editions, and the Millennium Editions came out in 2000, so kind of showcasing the century of the comics in the 20th century, right? And of course, probably the most iconic book in DC Comics catalog is Action Comics 1, first appearance of Superman. But we picked this one up, decent copy, VF copy, got some spine ticks here, brick color, but overall with the press, it would look really nice. And I do like the little medallion there. It just gives kind of like it is a reprint, but it just gives kind of like a commemorative feel to this comic book. Again, it's framed in this medallion, and I don't know what you call it, just like a wrapping paper background or something. Just the backgrounds, and then you get the bullet logo. That's kind of nice. because that would go into change in the new millennium. But yeah, got the Joe Shuster cover there, which is really, really awesome. So we're just going to go sequentially. And again, these aren't, a lot of the bigger books I'm going to show off later are just going to be in like Mylar or my top loaders. So these bag and boarded ones are sort of like not the bigger books, sort of have condition issues. I'll try to cover as much of the what I think is the condition as much as I can. This is probably a 2.0 copy, 2.5, 2.0. Very beat up on the spine. Well, maybe a 3.0. We'll go 3.0 on this. The spine is just really not good. Might even be detached at a staple here. Little minute creases here and there. It's definitely in between like a 2.5 and a 3, I'd say. So it could be like, could go 3 or 2.5 either way. But we have Action Comics 319. Superman is the condemned Superman, and it's just a creepy cover. You got these like executioners there, kind of. I don't know that. I don't know if that's the period or what, but they look super, super weird. And this could be like an alien executioner race or something. They're going to use that weird otherworld method of execution on me. Yet I'm innocent. There you go. Action Comics 319. This was part of, I think, the collection Josh gifted, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, essentially got that for free, I think. Or it might have been something I paid $4 for. I don't know. My memory's a little shady. All right, this one is I don't recall what I paid for this. This is not the original back and board, but I think I got this over at I think I got this for $1 at Jeff's. And this is Action Comics 338. It's Muto the Monarch of Menace, which is a weird name. But see what happens when the future Superman of 2966 clashes with a future villain called Muto the Monarch of Menace. And this is, again, Action Comics 338. This is probably in like a fine condition. Definitely could use a clean and a press. But in terms of creasing, not too much. There's just a little bit of like, looks like tanning on the edges there. Maybe a little bit of what do we call it? Surface residue or peel on that end. A little bit of a micro crease on the corner there. But all in all, looks decent. A couple of like the surface is like someone took like a pen or pencil to it and just kind of poked the top of this dude's head. You can see the little indent there on the head. Yeah, I'd put it at a 4.0. Probably closer to a 4.0. Maybe the tanning is what's going to drop it. I think so. Like I've said 5.0, but with the tanning, it's a 4.0. I'm happy with that call, 4.0. There's not a lot of creasing on this, but again, Action 338. Muto the Monarch. What's his name? The Monarch of Menace. Muto. All right. And I don't know, I showed 338 off first. This is 329. This is probably a 3.5, 3.0 to 3.5. There's some staining. Spine is pretty rough. You got just a little wear along the spine. Not too much in the ways of creasing. There is a crease that goes all the way across, but it's mostly on white. A little color break in the middle there, and a little bit of a quarter crease here. All in all, that's probably like 7 inches of creasing for you to kind of line it all up. But looks great. So again, I put it at like a 3.5, somewhere in that category. It's definitely like a VG minus, maybe. Yeah, VG minus. VG to VG minus, maybe. There you go. And this is like a Superman with like a. It's when Superman faces a showdown with the Ultimate Man, he's got this rainbow-colored shield and sword without superpowers. So he's got having to fight the old way, the old-fashioned way. Boom. So those are some cool Silver Age books. Now we're going to get into the Bronze Age books, and this is, I think, where I really hit the sweet spot, because I hadn't really targeted. I had like Bronze Age books in my collection, but really it was related to just like picking like a random issue here and there, and picking it up because it was really cheap, like, you know, found in the dollar bin, or got it for like half off, like, you know, like a 40-cent cover for half off is like 20 cents, right? So we had those kinds of like pickups, and it was just never really targeted. It was just kind of like we ran across it, it was random, and some of it was, you know, Neil Adams or George Perez, no, Neil Adams, or maybe like a key issue, but nothing really targeted that we were intentionally trying to pick up. Well, we were being very intentional this summer, and mind you, like it was before I'd seen the movie, but I basically said, like, we set a target that we wanted to pick up like Ross Andrew, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez books from the era. And, you know, they did a lot sort of early copper to late bronze work on Superman. A lot of covers, some interiors, but mostly cover work. So again, you know, if you incorporate specifically those two artists, with people like Kurt Schaffenberger, people like Nick Cardy, people like Ernie Chan, or Chaw, sorry, it would culminate in a pretty nice collection of books from that era. And so, yeah, we're going to showcase this right now. A lot of just great books. And I will say this, like, Superman's pretty campy during this. I mean, he was campy in the Silver Age, don't get me wrong. But it remains very campy throughout the Bronze Age, and I love it. I love the campier the better. Like Superman doesn't really take himself um, like the title itself doesn't really take itself too seriously. It's still very much a kid's comic book. So very just full of imagination, full of like uh, it just covers a large sort of gamut of characters that Superman has to deal with. So a lot of weird scenarios, a lot of weird characters, um, just fun. It's a fun book to read, and again, um, really targeted at I think young kids. You know, uh, in particular boys. So if you're like a young, adolescent boy, just reading about Superman, that's kind of up your wheelhouse. Again, up of the era. So I don't think kids nowadays would find any of these books entertaining. But if you're a kid from again the '70s, these things were um, grade A entertainment. So we're gonna keep going here with Action Comics 439. Meet an explosive new foe for Superman in Too Big to Live. He's too big to live. And just have this fist coming out of the water, just punching Superman out of the water. What could that be? Again, uh, this art is Neil Nick Cardy goodness right there. Look at all the incredible water and wave action there in that cover. Pretty cool, pretty nice. Um, I love this era of like 20 and 25-cent covers. They're just cool. We got this is either Bob Oxner or I think this is Bob Oxner. We got a Bob Oxner cover here on Action 446, and got a great shot of Lois in the era's fashion there. Mini trench coat showing off the legs in that what I would assume is like chillier weather with the very nice hat there. Again, Lois is always just stylish. I love the way the artists just make her very chic and stylish from the age. Um, yeah. Um, Again, as soon as I turn this corner, I'll know exactly how Clark Kent contacts Superman. And there, and he's just there. He is getting caught. Lois is about to catch him for the umpteenth time. Then we got an earth-shattering thriller, The Laugh Heard Around the World. Superman just is having a laugh here. Uncontrollable laugh. I don't know, makes me happy to see that. Um, this is Action Comics. What is it? 350? What is this? 450? Yeah, 450. Boom. This is also, I believe, Oxner cover, I want to say. I'll have to look that up. All right, we got. I think this is a Jose Luis Garcia Lopez cover. One of his earlier ones, maybe. And this one has issues. It's got like some fold creasing at the top here. Got some spine ticks. Or all in all, I would say this is a fine copy, though. It's pretty nice. Fine copy for maybe fine minus for 464. A Luis Garcia Lopez cover, I believe. Didn't really look any of these up, but this is definitely a Garcia Lopez cover. And I picked up my second copy of this. So this is I believe this is the better copy. I think I picked up and it's not even all that better. It's definitely mid grade, probably somewhere at the 5.0, 4.5, 4.5 range. Um, Not too bad looking book. There's just a couple corner creases here. 471 there. So like a fine minus, maybe a fine minus copy. Too bad, Superman. The only way you can stop me from wrecking Metropolis is to find a way to arrest a phantom. Ha ha ha. That previous, this previous villain is, his name is Pile Driver. Wrestling terms there. Let me get the Phantom. Again, I have 2 copies of this. I do have some doubles here that we picked up. I don't think we've hit doubles yet. This one is just one of my favorite um, action comics because it's a rare one where you get Schaffenberg. I mean, I shouldn't say rare. Schaffenberger's been on Superman titles for a very, very long time, but rarely did we see Schaffenberger like work on action comics. He was kind of doing things in Superboy for the mainstay. Definitely did things in the Lois Lane, uh, kind of defined that uh, comic book. And then he did some, again, um, a lot of, again, kind of doing things here and there for DC Comics that are Superman related. But yeah, this particular one, uh, it's from, again, he's working on the main title here, Action Comics, and he's just got such a definitive style to his characters. Just when he does Superman or Superboy, it's just um, it is completely distinguishable. So he has his sort of signature style for the character, and that's what I love about this cover. You just got this Superman and Clark Kent glasses with these other super guys. And what I like about this is you could be in the Superman movies. So this is right around the period of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. So we're thinking 78, 79, um, maybe 78, 77, maybe even. But we got 474. You got like a Jimmy Olsen Superman with all these Perry, like looks like a Perry White is there at Superman. All these like cast of characters there, and there are 7 Supermen on this stage. But after Doctor Light fires his weapon, there'll only be one left. We challenge you to guess which it will be. So there you go, Doctor Light appearance there. Um, and it's the Tonight Show. There got seven Superman on the Tonight Show apparently. So that's kind of cool. All right, moving right along. This is another one where I think we picked up a second book because you pick up books and you're not sure if you have them in your collection or not. I really should do a better job of like understanding. But this particular one, I knew I had it, but we had a better copy, or potentially had a better copy, and so we were kind of like, yeah, I think this is better than the one I have. But again, um, when you've got sort of the 80s version of Lois Lane and Superman by the great Kurt Schaffenberger, you just got to pick it up. This is just one of those, again, Schaffenberger on Action Comics. Um, Anytime you can have a book like that, you want it. So again, I think I picked up, this is my second copy I picked up, which is the better one. I already had an existing one in the collection, but I think I picked up the second one for 25 cents. So at that price, it's like, and if it's a little better condition than the previous one, I'm just gonna add it. It's a no-brainer. This is a Rich Buckler cover with Oxner on inks, it appears. And keep firing until Superman no longer poses a threat to us. There's all these robots. Then we become the landlords of Earth. And they're basically shooting him, and Superman's getting very big, like a balloon. Um, yeah, so I guess they're trying to pop him or something along those lines. All right, we got this is another one. I guess picked up two. I just want to make sure I. This is one. I don't understand why I'd have two of this unless I'm pretty sure. Huh, interesting. So I have two issues of this. I don't know why I would have two issues of this, but I think I picked them both up this summer too. 478, SOS Superman Urgent Help Us or Earth Will Die. But the Man of Steel can't respond. He's on the moon fighting for his own life. And it looks like I picked up two copies of this somehow this summer. I don't mind. I'm thinking I got them for a quarter each, which is why. And this is art by, I believe this is, let's say this is Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Pretty sure it is. No indication on the cover, but let me know if you know who the artist of this cover is. 478. There you go. Got a lot of books here, so just bear with me. This is definitely uh, okay. This I think both of these are Buckler covers. This may be a Buckler cover. Yeah. So the one I showed, this is a Rich Buckler cover there. This is also a Rich Buckler cover, and this is another one where I picked up two copies. Um, this top one is my better presenting copy, and the back. Look at these cool watches they had back in the day. Man, can you imagine being a kid and getting a watch like that with the Superman face? You are styling at school with the polyester band there. This was you get the whole set. Well, how much is this? What are you paying for this? A large style watch with your favorite superhero for only $23.95. So you'd pay $23 for this really nice superhero watch that came in different. Now, this is what confuses me. Like, you got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Joker, and Spider Man as like you just get this random Marvel character among the watch selection there. So that's kind of cool. Uh, but yeah, uh, Action 479, Rich Buckler cover. That is damn cool. All right, moving right along. Whew, playing nothing but the hits. Here we go. I read Avengers 240 today. Lame story and lame art, but it was old, so we still fun to read, right? Uh, I know what you mean, man. These older comics are just cheesy as all get up. But I mean, if you go back and read, like I'm talking like first Spider-Man or early Spider-Man, right? It's just a lot of nonsense, really. It just the characters just like are oblivious to like things going on. It all revolves around some like missing a huge detail behind a door or something and just leading it to a bunch of nonsense. So um, yeah, you just had a bunch of it was just basically like Three's Company type story arcs, right? Just like uh, some confusion and it leads to just craziness and it all gets resolved in the end. So It was a weird, funky post-war psychedelic kind of period, the Bronze Age. All good. The kids were traumatized and they were reading comics to stay sane. So the wackier the better. But here's another wacky Whitman. So I had this in the regular edition, which is a DC logo. Now we have the Whitman edition, and I think this is actually it's somewhere between 479 and 488. So it's I want to say it's like 480 something. This is the second appearance of the Supermobile. Okay, and I love the Supermobile. Uh, and you get a really good look at it, the Supermobile here. It's a really cool looking thing, ship. It's like this ship with like these fists coming out the side, but it protects Superman from like kryptonite and you know red sun rays and stuff like that. So there you go. And a quick Superman, stop Amazo before his shockwaves crush us. I can't, Lois. I've lost control of the Supermobile, but outside of it, I'm powerless, and Amazo knows it. So he's battling Amazo. What an amazing name, Amazo. And he's just causing these shock waves by banging his fists together. How cool is that? That's pretty powerful, if you ask me. All right, we got. Here we go. We got Microwave Man. His microwaves were getting big around this period. Uh, we would have microwave ovens soon. But we got some Jose Luis Garcia and Dick Giordano collabo goodness here with Microwave Man. Punch proof, bulletproof, capture proof. That's me, Microwave Man. And again, this is another book that I had. I picked up another copy. My second copy, I'm assuming, is the bearer copy. This looks to be in a fine, fine plus range. But Action 488. Microwave Man. The power of the microwaves. And then we got some Ross Andrew goodness. And I just love these, the rocket covers, the baby and the rocket covers. As a baby, he escaped the explosion that destroyed his homeworld, Krypton. But today, many years later, the blast catches up with Superman as Krypton dies again. So yeah, that's also a motif. Krypton explodes and the meteorites or the kryptonites make their way at a slower rate, and something from Krypton is flying this way, right? Animals or some form of like red kryptonite or purple kryptonite or whatever the case may be. Just sort of a late chain reaction there. I will say this is a really decent copy here that we have. With a press, I think it would be high grade because I'm not seeing a lot of color break increasing, but there's rippling throughout the book. So this would be prime for Rogers services. There is a little bit of like residual wear on the cover. Again, I'd just be curious to see how this would look after, because a lot of this is just related to the rippling. I think if we were to really just press this and clean it, I think it would look fantastic. I think we can get it up to like a VF plus, not quite near mint, but like in that range with a good clean and a press. But You got Action 49 again, the rippling. You can see it in the book, but all in all, book looks fantastic. No creasing or anything like that. Ross Andrew goodness here on this cover. I just love Ross Andrew. Uh, so now we're going to get into some Andrew covers here. Um, Probably one of my all-time favorite Andrew covers, and it's the 500th commemorative 500th issue here of Action. So this is a must-have for Superman collectors. I mean, you can't have Action 1, but you can have Action 500. Milestone edition here with Supergirl in my favorite get-up for Supergirl, the go-go shorts. I think she is not wearing a bra, so we love that. The braless super blouse there, and Lois there. Again, Infinity cover. This is one of those wraparounds with all the various kind of milestone Action Comics covers in there. Um, just fantastic, and what an honor for Ross Andrews to just immortalize him as one of the best artists to have worked on Superman. So kudos to Mr. Andrew right there. And again, that's our second copy. I think we picked this up because it was $1 or 25 cents. And again, I got a really high grade copy of this, but I don't mind having a low grade copy of it. It's not even low grade, it's a good mid grade copy, but I don't mind adding another one of these because it's just freaking goodness, man. That's a book. If it's cheap and it's available, I'm picking it up. All right, more Ross Andrew here. We got 507. My foster father was buried years ago right here next to Ma Kent. So why is there no trace of the grave? Because I'm still alive, son, and standing right behind you. That's Superman's foster father. Where will the mysteries never cease? Who knew Superman had a foster father before the actual adoption? Some funkiness going on right there. They're having fun with the origin story. Is all I can say. Why not? All right, we've got more foster father here. Thunderation, who could have done that to you, my son? Your son? That means Superman is Clark Kent. Love the Lois Lane look here. She's spilling her coffee to express complete and utter shock that Superman is Clark Kent. And here comes Superman. Looks like he's been battling or struggling to just make it into the room here. Boom. What's going on? Who beat the crap out of Superman? Pa Kent alive. Superman beaten. His identity revealed. The most unforgettable story of, I'm assuming this is 1980, of 1980 or 81 or whatever it is. Boom. Andrew Giordano goodness there. I'm just doing a little homage to Andrew here. Another Andrew cover. Superman, why are you doing this to us? For your own good. Extra in this issue, a complete 28-page bonus Superman story. Who are the 5 people exiled from Earth by the Man of Steel? They seem to be children. Oh no. Why is Superman exiling children into the vacuum of space where they would instantly suffocate and die of sub-degree temperatures? We've got Action 523. This is a very nice copy. I'm going to put this in the VF range here. Wow, this is fantastic. And high grade copy here. We've got a Rich Buckler cover on 523. Cool it, Superman. Old Six Eyes here is my brother. Don't panic, Steve. I'll save you from this alien monster. So, some friend of Superman, his name's Steve. Amazo, laugh out loud. There was a character in the Avengers comics called Daddy Longlegs, who just really tells you. Yeah, gotta love it. We got a six-eyed alien here. You gotta love that, right? Um, it looks like Jabba the Hutt with four extra eyes, uh, and it's got tentacles for arms and all that. So who knows? And then we got a little Atom action here as a side story in Action Comics. So that's cool. Action Plus with the Atom, right? So good stuff right here. Man. All right, so I had actually an opportunity to pick up a better copy of this for $1. But of all the things, like when I was going to the LCS this summer, I would have like a budget of stuff, and I'd pick out everything kind of like that was there that was worthy of being picked up. But I would have to make choices. I would have to prioritize. Okay, I want to pick this up over this or that. And again, we had a higher grade copy. It was a direct edition though, but it was high grade, and it was $1. I shouldn't say high grade. It was like mid, like a very good looking mid grade book, which is what we have here too. But this is probably uh, closer to a 3.5. Yeah, it's in the VG, whereas the one in the dollar bin was probably closer to like fine. And this is significant because it's George Perez's first work on Superman. It's on the cover, first cover work on Action and a Superman book. And that's Action 529, George Perez's first cover on Action, first work on a Superman title or a book. So very key issue for Perez collectors. Hurry, Superman! Stop that erupting volcano below. What volcano, Lois? All I see is a quiet street scene. What? Action Plus with Aquaman this time. But a lot of this just illustrates how silly. Like, there's obviously a big lava eruption, but Superman doesn't see any of it. Something's going on, and you got to read to find out. We have this weird cover by an artist that, first off, I love me some Gil Kane. Gil Kane is just, absolute one of the legends in the industry. But again, this is toward the latter part of his career, and I don't know, because with as you go into the Copper Age, the look and feel of comics do change. Like the style of the comics change, and a lot of that I think had to do with artists like Neil Adams, artists that were kind of more focused on comics being more anatomically accurate, or just having more of like a kind of like a bodybuilder like physique to what you're seeing on the pages, right? Um, and I don't know, and has that changed? I don't know how this artist was impacted by that, but um, definitely his art style changed drastically. And so this is again Gil Kane work on an Action Comics book, and it's just a weird cover. It's just not what your normal like if you're to compare early Gil Kane to late Gil Kane, a later Gil Kane just has a weird just element to it. Just looks kind of like he's just kind of tossing it together. Like it's obviously easy for him at this stage in his career, right? So he's not maybe putting as much attention to detail and the outcome as he should be. It's just like I can do this, and he's just maybe kind of quick drawing it. But whatever the reason is, it just uh, the later Gil Kane artwork just doesn't look as compelling as his earlier work. But that holds true for a lot of artists. I think the older you get, maybe the more um, or the less time and effort you put on it. You're kind of like the drill, and you're just kind of doing it as work, as opposed to like really kind of putting your mark on something. Um, but it is what it is. I mean, each artist is going to have their own approach to work as they progress along their career. I think, yeah, I think when you're a little bit hungrier and you're trying to prove yourself, you put a lot of effort trying to make things super flawless, or a lot of correction and all that. But then when you get older, you just kind of go with the flow, and it results in something like this. So who knows? But yeah. All right, we're gonna take a little pause here and just kind of take a look. That was a lot of books. Now we're gonna get into sort of the more books from my era, my collecting era, and um, yeah, Action is just one of those titles. I believe Action was the first to s- cycle through 1,000 issues, and that's really significant in comic books, because it just shows the longevity. Uh, you know, think come 2028, right? Action will be celebrating its 90th year in publication. And Action, I don't think there's ever been a rest for the monthly serial. And think about that statement. For 90 years, this comic book has been coming out on a monthly basis, um, straight. And so that's another thing about this Action Comics thing. Like I picked up a lot of issues, but I mean, we're talking like over 1,000 issues. Um, that is, and then you get into the Golden Age stuff, and that's just like, you know, first off, it's rare because most of the books from that era were just destroyed, like literally just thrown out like garbage. So, you know, what little there is highly sought after by collectors. It's highly valued, and even I think the older books. If you have something relatively in good condition, or I should say, very good or above, I mean that's going to command you know tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for. So, um, just contrasting that early period with sort of this more modern later period is really kind of fun to do, and that's what we're going to show here. We're going to focus on some of the books from the latter part of this run. So now, uh, Action 587, which features the demon kind of choking out. This is a John Byrne cover, by the way. Brilliant, just an absolute masterpiece of a cover here. Though we fought side by side, Man of Steel, you must die so that millions may live. City of Lost Souls, Superman versus the Demon. Now, I have 587, but I ran into something that you don't really run into, which is a foreign comic. But it's a foreign comic in English, and it's pretty much the same. I think it's the same issue here, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and there's a little variation on the cover art because you have Action Comics again, 587 here, and we picked up an Indian comic. This was published. I don't know when. I don't know if there's a date here or anything, but this was published. I want to say like sometime in the 2000s, so very fairly recent. But it's just I think reprinting a lot of this stuff. Uh, but it says by Byrne and Giordano in terms of the cover art, and what we have here is again no serial number here, or no, yeah, no serial number. It's the price is 25 rupees apparently. So 25 rupees you could get this Superman reprint, and it's the color. It's the reprinting the cover of Action 387. So I just thought this was $1. I picked it up for $1. Kind of beat up, but it's just a book you don't. Again, it's the Action Comics cover, but with the Superman trade dress there, and a foreign comic. But again, the exact same cover. The dimensions are a little off there. The background's a little bit positioned a little differently. It just is a different cover of the same artwork. So that was kind of cool. Again, here's the original cover, and here's the Indian reprint cover there. So that was cool. I just thought that was cool. So pick that up. This is just a big Barda cover, which I really like. I think this is a key issue of some. I don't know what's key about it. But back off, Superman. The creature called Sleaze must die. Then you'll have to kill me first, Barda. And this is another book I picked up a second copy of because it's nicer and it was a newsstand. So this top one's the one we picked up. Action 592, more John Byrne goodness. This one I picked up another copy as well. In fact, I don't think this was a pickup because I have my comics, and I can kind of look retroactively what I picked up. I don't think I picked up this summer. It just was like kind of in that retroactive list because I might have added it rather than actually having picked it up. So I don't think I picked this up this summer, but I'm gonna show it off anyway. 643, George Perez, Superman 1 homage there. That's a beautiful book. That is a must-have as well. But we got some George Perez to show off, and what's better than that? George Perez Action Comics. I mean, just showed you the homage there. We've got Action 645, just a beautiful, a lot going on there. Um, just and then you got this like beautiful Maxima character rendition there. This George Perez, amazing goodness right there. There's more. We got Perez on Action 647. The Brainiac Trilogy Part 1. Got Brainiac looking like a Sinestro or something. Got the little beard and mustache thing going on. That's nice. And got the Brainiac Trilogy Part 3. 649. We do need to get 648 at some point. We don't want to have. We want to have Part 2 of the Brainiac Trilogy. We got Maxima Makes Her Move, The Day of the Krypton Man, Part 3. There you go. Still only 75 cents. We have some George Perez, Maxima, Superman goodness right there. All right, and then we got some Kerry Gamble action, Kerry Gamble brick beating action, the death of Luthor. We got that literally death standing over him. 660 there, action 660. This one, this was one of our early first pickups of the summer. And I just want to give a shout out because I picked this up for like 30 cents over at Hilla Comics. This was before Hilla Comics moved uh, out of their regular location in Auburn before they moved to their new location. And their new location is absolute not a good location. They just got this big, so they got a storefront now with like glass cases and they put a bunch of books in, but in terms of their like back issues, it's all in their like warehouse, and they've got a separate room set up for like overpriced keys, which they don't have it's just a bad setup. And then they've got just mountains and mountains of like inventory just stacked, so nothing's really accessible or easy to find. But we'll see. I just don't think I'm gonna head down there to pick up books. I have my other. If I'm gonna go all the way down to Auburn, I might as well just go to Tacoma or uh, again, Jeff's back. I'd rather hit up Jeff's and spend the money there. So we have Action 662. We did pick this up at Sten Brothers on like a trade type situation. And again, I had picked up kind of a wavy, humidity, kind of weathered, stiff edition of Action 662. Just needed a press. It looks good. But then, I was gifted this as part of that trade. He threw in a bunch of books. Um, and this is like a mint copy of it. So it's my new. It's the representative copy in my collection now. 662 there. No, this one's in again near mint condition, so that's kind of cool. Again, Superman Clark reveals himself as Superman, and this is a pivotal moment because up until this point, you realize it was like we were talking about campy storylines and just the whole like Lois not know, Lois having this weird relationship where she has Clark in the friend zone and she's madly in love with Superman for you know pretty much like 60 years of the continuity, right? Um, but when Byrne kind of modernized the character and created sort of this singular timeline, post-crisis timeline for all of these characters, one thing I think they were kind of wanting to do eventually with the character is uh, build toward some uh, some sort of conclusion in, or I should say, what's the word I'm looking for? Like some like kind of event horizon for their relationship, and this kind of sparks it right here. This I might be wrong because I don't collect newly released comics, but from the art I've seen, everybody's at like 1990s term for art level these days. Um, I feel like I don't know if I agree with that. I think you can make an argument there are a lot of I mean I'll circle back around to this. So initially what I'm going to say is I think the artists of today in the industry, making a living in the industry, um, are as talented as artists have ever been. Um, but at the same time, I think yes, you'll have certain books, you'll have certain titles, and this isn't across the board, but uh, I think Marvel's been a little bit more guilty of it than maybe DC. But you'll have amazing cover artwork and cover um, a variety of covers, right? Just a variety of artists that come in and do like a fantastic cover for an issue. And you won't have that same kind of, uh, you won't have that same kind of attention to detail or quality on the interior part of the book. Maybe from a writing perspective, you'll have great writing, but oftentimes you have like, let's sell the book, and then the inside is often just kind of pieced together, not as nice as what you're seeing on the cover. But I think, at least what I'm seeing in DC, you're seeing quality throughout the book, cover or artwork, as well as the interior story and interior panels. Um, but I feel like I do agree with you. Like, I know your point is Todd McFarlane, great cover work, but kind of took a lot of shortcuts on in terms of the panel work, right? The panel storytelling. And don't get me wrong, Todd McFarlane can storyboard or panel art with uh, a battle. If you want like a battle or just cool like action poses and all that, McFarlane's your man. But if you want like a cityscape or just like a road with like cars parked, just the mundane everyday stuff, McFarlane is not your man. At least not the early McFarlane. Early McFarlane is struggling to just even draw like geometric shapes. So, I mean, it's nothing against McFarlane. I'm just saying, like, what bugs me is like everybody makes McFarlane out to be this like larger than life comic book creator, and he is. His contributions cannot be denied. But when you look at the scope of his actual interior work, and I'm including Spawn in this. Spawn's full of just kind of lazy pen work. Again, great characters, great sort of action poses and all that, but you kind of extend beyond that. Again, drawing sort of simple, mundane stuff, and I think you could see he struggled with it. So, and then again, you know, I think his overall art style is either you really like it or it looks a little cartoonish. And I'm of when I was younger, I loved McFarlane. I thought McFarlane was like one of the greatest artists ever to grace the pages of a comic book. But when you get older, your sense of art and you get a sense of like what is actually like what who is talented and who isn't, right? And um, I'm not saying Todd McFarlane is not talented. He's definitely honed his craft. He's a talented artist, and he can do a comic book without, with the best of them. But I think he gets kind of more adoration and accolade than he should, given there's so much. Again, I could probably name off like 50 or 60 artists I would throughout the history of the industry that I would put ahead of Mr. McFarlane. So that's it. I mean, again, I'm not an expert or anything, but that's just my 2 cents on that. So again, he has a huge fandom, and I'm glad, but just don't think he deserves credit ahead of a lot of these other people. And you know, this is another example. Kerry Gamble included. Kerry Gamble, man, he would draw circles around Todd McFarlane, and it is what it is. Yeah, Kerry Gamble, goodness, right there. All right. This is more Kerry Gamble goodness. Yes, more Kerry Gamble goodness here. No, this is Jackson Geist goodness. All right, this is Jackson Geist goodness. We got Action Comics 684. This is where the fight gets. I mean, they start the fight in what, like Ohio somewhere, like in Kansas somewhere, and it just keeps like moving and moving and getting closer and closer to Metropolis. And this is where they kind of like um, reach the city limits here, and battles in Metropolis. They fight their way all the way across the country. And then we got 691. I think this is where like this is a pivotal moment in the action run where we have the return of it. This is part of the arc of the return of Superman. There, Clark and the Kryptonian regenerative regalia, and then we got Action Comics 692. This is kind of ending the entire Reign of Superman arc. I love this pickup because it's really high grade and it's a newsstand. So put this at a VF plus. I mean, there's a lot of copies of this. It's not like it's rare or anything, but anytime you can get a nice newsstand copy from the 90s, I think that's a win. Gamble and Geist. There you go. Two Superman legendary artists there. A Gamble Geist collabo. Looking fantastic on that cover there. Look at the mullet Clark Kent. Who doesn't like the mullet Clark Kent? That's Butch Geist's gift to the lore of Superman. The mullet Superman. All right, and then I picked up another milestone, double-sized anniversary blowout, issue 700. I think this is a key book. Don't know what's key about it, but it's a key. There you go, 700. And last but not least, yes, Prime Survival. No, hey, Prime Survival, are you Fanboy Prime? Have I been talking? Is this your new code name, Prime Survival? Maybe not. All right, but yeah, Prime Survival. I couldn't agree with you more. Back when we had Todd on the hot artist list, but not there's any other artists on the hot list at all Da Vinci levels. But yeah, Todd was cartoony of it and of its time, old at this point. Yeah, now there's other hot artists, not. No, I'm not a fan of. Okay, um, so Todd has always been at the forefront of popularity. But yeah, back in the 90s when he was doing Spider Man, Spawn, man, he was definitely, he could sell a comic book. He was definitely like one of those influential creators. So, like, if he's doing a book, people, and again, it all comes back down to like, he could sell a comic book, he could draw a cover, and just make it the best cover. And his forte was kind of like chaos within a panel, right? He could just really create like kinetic energy with his line work, with his poses, kind of like, you know, gravity, reality defying type uh, poses and whatnot. Very iconic style as well, especially for the Spawn and the Spider-Man type mask type figures. But yeah, when he was doing faces, actual faces, and um, anatomy work and all that, it just, there was a part of it that was, again, his unique style, but kind of uh, felt very like Disney, Disney-esque. Like you're looking at like a Disney animated character, sort of like, you know, very uh, the proportions on the face and everything were off, right? And I think it's cool, but and that's the thing. Like McFarlane knew his style was kind of that way, and then I think he took a lot of effort to. Um, I'm talking specifically. He did uh, a cover recently. It was a Justice League cover. I want to say it was like a cover for one of those like DC crossovers. I think it was like X-Men, Superman covers, or no, X-Men Justice League covers. I could look it up, but it just I think they released it at New York Comic Con. There's only a set number of uh, copies, and the artwork looks really good. And again, Todd McFarlane has honed his craft, so he's been doing this as long as anybody now. And just to think like he still draws like he was back in his like 30s or late 20s, 30s is uh, not true at all. The guy has um, honed his craft. His artwork today is much better than his artwork uh, previously, and he's using again some of the digital tools to really enhance and be more efficient with his what he can produce. And yeah, but I will say this: um, he and again, I'm not accusing him of anything, but I definitely think Todd McFarlane is guilty of, and again, I think a lot of artists are too. It's not like Todd's the only one, but a lot of artists, rather than just doing it straight from their brain and doing something original, a lot of artists will swipe or copy um, specific poses or looks or uh, the essence of a character. And I just feel like Todd on his latest cover of again, it's I think the Justice League. Um, he he swipes Burn. He swipes Burn's Legends cover is almost verbatim for Superman. I mean, his Superman looks like legitimately like from the head down, like he just copied Burns, um, you know, like the angle and everything of Superman in flight. And when you compare it to like his some of his interior Superman gallery stuff, uh, it's a complete 180. It's like his Superman gallery stuff looks absolutely ridiculous, but then he takes some of that cape work and applies it to this more muted and more sort of like Superman esque face and you know and anatomical style to the character, which is more in line with the standard for the character. So again, a lot of improvement in Todd's today's Superman, but if you're looking very carefully, he swiped it. He swiped it from John Byrne. The exact pose, the facial structure, and the anatomy. He just kind of made it his own. But he definitely like it looks swiped. So um, you know, not to hate on the guy, but he's got to do better than that. I almost would like to see him do it in his own. I mean, he did do it because he's Superman's holding the cape, and it's got a kind of like a got like a spawn like cape flow to it. But in terms of the pose and everything, he swiped it from Byrne. He swiped it from the Byrne Legends cover, and just wish he wouldn't do stuff like that. It's like just make original, make something original, man. At least like with other artists, like if you do a pose or something, you know it if you do it enough times, it becomes kind of your own thing. Uh, but like the Spider-Man, like the flight stuff, all that, the whole leg out and like karate kicking with the webs out. That's distinctly Todd's style. And the cape, again, in the Superman thing, he does add his own. Superman's holding the cape and it's like billowing like a parachute. I don't know why you'd fly like that, but he made it like that, and that's completely his style. But in terms of the anatomy and face, that was swiped, almost copied, and I just feel like it doesn't need to do stuff like that. Just make the character your own and stick with it. But Superman, that's why Superman is hard. You know, it's it could end up like this, right? Which is horrible. When Superman should be looking more like this, right? This is the look of Superman. So it's hard to achieve unless you have a certain degree of, you got to be able to draw a good face and a good physique. You can't do that, then you shouldn't be in comic books, right? Um, Now I'm going to talk about this is my last book, and this actually segues really nice into what I've been reading. So yeah, these days comic books, I say what they're looking for is artists that draw like Jim Lee. I think they're along. So yeah, well, let me just get to let me bring something to the fore here. All right, so I I read this. Uh, I didn't read the whole thing, but I read. So this combines um, issues 1 through, I think, the first, this is like the first 14 or 15 issues of the Jeff Loeb Batman. I'm sorry, Superman Batman, which is like the 2000s version of um, World's Finest, right? And again, I never really read the start of this run, which is Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness, and I'm kind because where I came in was during the whole Supergirl arc, and even in the Supergirl arc, I had only read sort of like the latter part of the this arc with the Michael Turner art. But I went to the library and I found this little edition, and again, it's the one through I think issue 15 or something. So I got to read fill in all the little blanks that had been there. And again, I got to reread the Turner. Man, it's so good. And you know, this is comic book. This is where story and art just culminate into like why comic books are great. And I really liked the Ed McGuinness start to this as well. The art, the start to this run, because of the Luther story arc. It's a great. I mean, it's kind of like what we're seeing in the movies right now, in tone for sure. But it's just always been there as like a DC staple. The sort of the modern take, or I should say modern, yeah, the modern take on Lex, but it's just brilliantly kind of built into this um, uh, story around Superman and Batman's relationship. So again, um, a real, I think, I think Jeff Loeb um, will always be a great comic book writer, especially for DC. I don't know if he could have the same impact at Marvel, but I think he understands Batman and Superman better than any writer. I mean, I shouldn't say that any writer, but he understands it as well as any writer at DC. And again, his true talents are on display through this story, and it's literally just this story arc. It's like the Ed McGuinness, Michael Turner art run, and you know, full stop. You can just kind of read this and get the gist. But yeah, just I'm rereading it right now, and it's just so good. It's just so good, and Michael Turner's artwork. So here is an example, a great example, where both McGuinness and Turner break the stylistic sort of, I guess what you call is like a copy editor's, or I should say the brand guidelines for Superman art. Okay. Whenever you work on Superman, and this applied to people who worked on it, like even the Carmine Infantino's, the you know, the Jack Kirby's. They get, when you get the assignment, Superman has to look a certain way, right? You just can't take liberties with the design of the character. You gotta stay true to it. But I think this is a great run that exemplifies you can have a different stylistic approach to the characters and still make it work. Because first off, we're going to take a look at um, McGinnis's Superman, and it's just a different style, sort of a more caricature like, kind of, again, the jaw lines extra, you know, exaggerated there. The muscles are exaggerated. Um, and yeah, it's a very kind of cartoony, like, like, like just like, I guess, Todd McFarlane, right? Like a more kind of cartoony style to it, but it works really well, because it's just consistent throughout. You know, it's just consistent. So when you build that kind of consistency in the design and look of the character, it's just another version of the character. And again, it's his style, but he makes the the characters just work. So I'm not a big fan of McGinnis's art. I am a fan of this run though, and I do think in the end he does do a great Superman. Um, just the look of a character like this, right? It's the McGinnis style, but it's definitely Superman. It's unmistakably Superman, and so. Um, but now we're gonna get to Turner. Turner, in his own right, has a very his own style, um, and it's not your typical Superman. Like, it breaks the brand guidelines, kind of like McGinnis does with his style. But man, you could almost rewrite the character to Turner style. I feel like if there's one person that could just change the brand guidelines for a comic book character, it would be like, you could look at Michael Turner's Superman and be like, okay, maybe that should be the standard, right? It's just incredible. And I'm just going to show you some, like, I mean, look at this. Look at that. That's Kara and Kal-El there. Great moment there where he's just like, hey, here's my cousin, right? And then some of these acts, like, look at Wonder Woman there. Again, all in his style there. Just incredible. Man, he's just a genius. And this is what I mean. Like, he's just so talented. He's not swiping anybody. He's just doing art in his own style, and he can pretty much draw. And I mean, look at those mountains, the birds, everything is just like, he's really just, on another level in terms of what he can do on the comic book. Look at some of these, like, that's Doomsday. That's his Doomsday. Come on, man. That's just freaking, yeah. So I really enjoyed just going back and reading this. And again, here we go, right? And yeah, I think I'm of the opinion now, like, Superman has to have a certain look. It's a brand guideline look, but you can take those guidelines and completely make it your own. And I think that's the problem with Todd McFarlane, is like, if Todd did it in his own way, it's not a good look. And so, this recent cover thing where he swipes again, he swipes burn, but he gives his own little spin on the cape design and the cape, making the cape larger than the character, which I think you can do, but I don't know if it's advisable. Um, but again, there are people who can do Superman in their own style, and then there are people who can't. And I think Bolland, Turner, McGinnis, these are all examples of great artists who understand how to do Superman and can do it in their own style, versus somebody who just absolutely loves Superman, wants to do Superman, but struggles to do it, like McFarlane. Um, so that's kind of my take on all those specific artists and how they've approached Superman. I really don't think Todd McFarlane has a good approach to Superman. He should just stick to like sort of the horror, kind of like the distractive artwork to take away from like the fact that he can't draw. He's got to do a lot of these sort of like larger than life type things on the page to distract from the fact that he can't like draw basic stuff. Versus, you got a guy like Turner and Perez who can pretty much draw anything that they imagine, right? And do it just brilliantly. I mean, it's just. I mean, look at this sketch. Look at that sketch. And there's just so much. You know, there's like a person in that sketch. You know what I mean? Like it's like a subtle smile, or there's just a character in that sketch, and it's just so. He makes it seem so effortless. This is why I love Michael Turner, because he can. He first of all, he's talented, but he can freaking draw like. He can freaking draw Supergirl. He literally make you fall in love with Supergirl. There's not a lot of artists that can make you fall in love with a two-dimensional representation of a character. But man, I mean, that's power right there. That is freaking power. You can use your pen and make people fall in love with whatever you create. Um, that's just an incredible power you have over people. And our last comic book here, rest in peace. Meet the Girl Who Stole Superman. And yeah. um, what a fitting cover for just one of the most talented artists of. I mean, I think if you're watching this video, um, you read comic books in the era of Michael Turner. So consider yourselves very privileged to have access to or have read his work and collected or enjoyed his work in real time, right? Um, you just won't, we'll have a lot of artists, we'll have a lot of people um, will do great artwork, create memorable stories in comic books for years on end. But this little slice of action in Superman, Batman, man, just you're just not going to get that ever again. I want to show you just like some more cool panels here, because I just feel like this is another great one where you get the reveal that, oh shoot, Supergirl's with Darkseid now. It's like this is the cover, but this last panel there where she kind of punches Superman and takes him out. It's, oh man, good. Now kill him. And man, this is just, and then the way they build up to it, just brilliant comic book writing. And yeah, if you're a big Marvel fan and all that, and you never read this, I think most comic book fans have read at least this Turner run, but this is must read stuff right here, and I would even like encourage you to just go out and get this volume here, Batman Superman, McGinnis, Loeb, Turner. But the Turner stuff and toward the end of this is just, it's a chef's kiss. It's a master class on comic book writing and artwork, panel work. Some of the panels here just absolutely unbelievable. I'm going to show you. Here we go. There's a really good one here. And it's just like over the top, like action, right? It's always over the top action here. Oh yeah, here's one. Okay, where Superman just takes out these like doomsday clone type thingies. There's like a huge, there's like a horde of doomsday like aliens approaching, right? And Superman just is like, I don't got time for this. He kind of just rises up and he just wipes them out with the heat ray blast, which is like, that's what he can do when he's angry and he's like, F this. I mean, Cyclops ain't got nothing on Superman. And look at that. Look at the color and tones on that. Oh man, that's just, that's just, no one can do it better. I mean, no one can do it better there. Yeah, Turner, Superman, and Supergirl. You can't touch it. It's like MC Hammer. You can't touch this. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty much my Action Comics run. And I think we're getting very close to the end of the showing off the Summer of Superman books. I've recently picked up a book, but I'm reserving it for next week to show off. As I'm either going to show it off first and then get to the big editions from the summer. I may have to do it in two parts because I think I actually have way too many like bigger books. So we'll go with the bigger books here in my um, filing cabinet. We'll dig all those books out and show those first, and then in the following week I'll show off the books I picked up that are in these back walls here. So we'll show that off, and I think that will conclude the revisiting of the Summer of Superman haul. I do have some exciting updates to share, and so as you know, we're all members of the comic book community, and I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of people in the community in person. I've also just had the privilege of just getting to know people through online interactions over the years. And one of those people, or let me just say, like, Three of these guys um, are people I follow and watch, and they have just a great passion for comic books, knowledge for comic books, um, and they're, I'm not the most uh, I'm not the most expressive person or articulate person or even knowledgeable person in terms of comics. But one thing I do kind of pride myself on is like I near obsess about comic books, and my level of love and passion for particularly Superman and my collection of Superman books is is really high. So whenever I see other collectors, and I'm not talking about sellers, I'm talking about collectors because it's a very different thing. Um, and you can tell, you can kind of, you know the fraudsters from the real ones, and it's a very thin line because a lot of collectors become sellers, right? So you're collect, but but when you become a seller, you do change, right? Like you can, if you're doing the selling to get toward maybe a collecting goal, right? Um, that can, there's a gray area there, right? Where you're a collector first and you're seller second, because the selling portion is to just build toward the collecting portion. And in those instances, yeah, I get it. I kind of want to do the same thing as well. Um, but you do have to be one over the other. And I just feel like there's a lot of sellers out there that are sellers before they're collectors. And so, or maybe they were collectors, but the selling portion is the where they get the high, not the actual books in their collection or their PC. It's like I love these books, but I get more joy out of making a profit and making money, and that's first and foremost over my actual love of the hobby. So, um, you know, again, I think we all share passion for the hobby, but I don't consider myself um, a seller at all. I will sell and trade books to kind of manage my collection a little bit and try to get uh, books that I don't want out for books that I want to get in. But anyway, I'm part of this group chat in the community, and I kind of put out there, hey, let's who wants to trade? And then I realized some of the members in this group are uh, people that aren't too far from me, and these individuals include Aaron, aka Psychotronic Squirt Gun. We have Christopher, aka Bronze Age Nerd, and Big B, aka Big B Comics. I think his social media um, social media name is Big B Comics. Maybe something else. I don't know. But these three guys, I've engaged with all three guys. In fact, Bigby and I did a trade. I think I want to say earlier in the year or late last year. So we've already done trades, but it was over packages. But I was kind of communicating with Bigby. Well, I was trying. I was so we had this kind of chat set up, and the chat set up to be like everybody's vetted. You don't have to worry. No one's going to take advantage of you in this room. So you put out a trade offer or whatever, um, you can take faith that if you send your books out, you're going to get what's what you kind of negotiate and deal with online. So I just started chatting with a few people in there, and Big B and I were kind of like going over what he wants and what I want, and there's definitely potential for a deal there. Uh, and then I think Aaron chirped out something, and then I realized, wait, Aaron's lives in Washington. Uh, Bronze Age Nerd lives in Washington, and I couldn't recall if Big B lived in Washington too, because I know he and Christopher, they stream together, and I don't know if they're within the same vicinity, but I suspected maybe Big B was in like Vancouver somewhere, maybe closer to Oregon. Maybe he was in Oregon, but it wasn't too far. So I basically said, "Hey guys," specifically those three gentlemen. I was like, guys, looks like we're all in Washington State. Why don't we meet up and trade books? And everybody's down to do this. So now we're just trying to coordinate a time everybody's available. And I think we've kind of all agreed that we're going to try to meet up in Olympia, which is about an hour south, maybe a little bit more than an hour, maybe an hour and a half south of me. And for those guys, it's maybe 40 minutes north for them. But we'd all convene in Olympia, probably grab something to eat, and just trade out in the back of our cars, right? Which I'm really looking forward to because, to be honest, I want more of this kind of stuff, like Superman, Action Comics, especially, and I told them like Silver Bronze Age type books, and I kind of want to purge a lot of the Marvel stuff I've collected. Those guys are specifically looking for like X-Men, Spider-Man, all that. I've got a lot of that I can bring to the table. So we're trying to like really kind of coordinate this. So what I'm going to do, um, maybe I'll do that tomorrow or the next day, but I'm going to kind of go show off some of the trade books that I have here, that I would bring to the trade. And of course, if Christopher and Aaron are going to be able, I'm going to have them as the specific target to watch this video so they can see, okay, this is what Otaku is going to bring. I already told them what I'm kind of looking for, and everybody's pretty much like, yeah, I have those books. I can hook you up. So we're going to see what we can do for each other. But that is in development right now. And we don't have any really specifics on a date or a time or a location yet, but everybody's on board. We're going to try to probably do this sooner than later, and we'll go from there. The other update I have is I am thinking about going to Grit City comic show. Now, this is a show I went to with Nam and Young. I want to say a couple years ago, and I had a fantastic time. I think I spent like $50, but picked up so many books. With a lot of them were dollar books, and I just now with the intense focus that I have for like Superman, this era of books, I kind of want to go to this show again, kind of purge a lot, trade what I need to trade, get rid of what I need, and kind of get as many of the books I'm looking for in exchange, but then have some space left over to just take some money to Grid City and pick up a lot of, again, the books that you want are targeting. And so I'm planning that. I think what we ultimately have to figure out is, well, my wife has to kind of sign off on it. I haven't broached the subject with her yet, but I'm pretty sure she's going to be like, yeah, go ahead. Um, it is on a Saturday, and so uh, my son has school on Saturday, so it's just one of those situations. As long as she's fine with picking him up and then spending the afternoon with him while I'm at the show, it's I'll be home by like 5, right? So um, I think it's just a Saturday I can probably spend, and I'm trying to get again the Washington State trade guys to like, if we can hit that show together, pick up a bunch of books, trade afterwards, that would just be a fabulous afternoon. But again, there is a admission fee there. I don't know if they're necessarily wanting to buy books, but I have kind of put it out there. Hey, anybody going to Grit City? It looks like no one's really planned on doing that. But I would advocate, hey, if we can meet up at Grit City, um, enjoy the show, talk shop with a lot of there's a lot of creators here locally that come to that show. I don't know if you guys know Dave and Rachel from Past Future Vintage Collectibles. They have a huge popular channel. They're big sellers, resellers on YouTube, but I'm sure they'll be at the show. I'm actually looking forward to looking through Dave's um, dollar bins because he last time he had just a plethora of like old Superboy and so all for like $3, $2, and I'm just like, I just hope he brings those same kind of books in that price range because I will buy him out. I will buy, and then Naman Young actually bought him out. Like he bought a short box worth of books from him. But that's the kind of like thing I'm looking for, right? If I can have like $100 to take there, we would just come back with so much goodness. Um, and again, hopefully we can. It's a couple weeks away, so I'm just already getting into the mode like, hey, I want to go and take some money there and pick up some books and hopefully trade some books. I don't mind actually like trading at the show too. I'll just like, I got these books. I kind of want. I'll trade them for you, like 2 for 1 if needed, and see what people say. But I am sure people at the show don't want to pick up more books. They'll probably want to like just want money for it. But I'm sure there'll be some people willing to trade or do something. So we'll see what goes there. But yeah, this has been a fun, long show. I've been on for 2 hours now, so I'm gonna kind of cut it short now, and just fun to update you on what's going on. So again, 2 updates. We're gonna have a local trade with some very well known community members, Big B, Bronze Age Nerd, and Psychotronic Squirt Gun. I'm gonna try to meet up and do a trade. And then the other part of that is Grid City Comic Show, um, where there'll be a bunch of local people, and I don't know if I'm gonna take a video there, but I definitely will be showing off the haul that we bring back from there. So kind of excited about that because if we can take $100 there, that's kind of like its own little summer haul, and I think I am excited about. I'm getting excited about what we could pick up there. So that's that. And then next week, the next 2 weeks, we'll kind of finish out our Summer Superman preview, and then she'll have other things, exciting things to show off or talk about lined up on Otaku Weekly. So again, thank you guys all for joining me. Thanks, Prime Survival. Thanks for hanging out, chilling. Um, It's confusing because Fanboy Prime and Prime Survival, just the Prime part confused me. You're engaging just like Fanboy Prime would, so I just thought maybe there was a name swap there, but glad to have the two primes in attendance. And yeah, have a great weekend, guys, and enjoy baseball, basketball, football. It's kind of all in play at this time of year, so enjoy all that. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.